Okay, so we're going to do a quick unboxing of this Condor knife, and then I'm going to do some handling of it. Condor knife, or excuse me, tool and knife company here. They're out of El Salvador. I was just down there. Condor was not on my brain when I went down there, and I'm pissed because the waves were terrible. The swell was coming from the wrong direction, and if I had thought of this company while I was there, I would have made a pilgrimage to the factory. So I'll probably go down there again now. You guys, this is nice, pretty cool sticker. Probably end up on the van. This is a kind of a catalog of all the different blades that they make. It's extensive. I'm dropping stuff here. Excuse me. It's carbon blades, so you want to. They're telling you to keep your fingerprints off and oil it regularly. I've known of Condor for quite some time. I don't know if you guys know who Matt Graham is. He's one of the best known, in particular, desert survivalist there is. He's an athlete, runs barefoot and in sandals. He's been on several TV shows. I think that might be similar to the blade they made for him. This one here. It's kind of a smash it style blade. I had heard of Condor over the decades and always been aware of them. I've handled a few. I've never owned one. But those of you who know me, have been watching the channel recently, oh, that's it. The primitive bush knife. I think that's the, I don't know if I'm getting that on the camera. Let me get behind it. There you go. That one right there. I believe that's the one. Anyhow, look at that leaf pattern. Really cool stuff. And I've been doing these videos lately on the Bowies. This is the Undertaker Bowie. And by the way, well, we'll get into that. Just want to unbox it here, and I'm going to point out a few things. I'm going to do a video. I'll change the frame here so you can see me handling it. As you guys know, I like to talk about that sort of thing. The first thing I noticed was I tried to put the knife in the sheath. They're known for being very tight here. Problem was the blade would not seat all the way. By the way, I'm doing this video specifically for Condor. I'm going to send it to them. If you notice here, if I set this blade in where the the sheath, the crossguard sits on the sheath there, right? Look where the point is at the rivet right here. So that's a problem because the knife is hitting the rivet and not setting down all the way in the sheath, so then the snap doesn't work, the retaining strap. I bought this off of Amazon. So that's it. It won't go any further than that. And so the strap and the snap will not reach. That's a problem. I noticed a couple other, what I would call a design flaw or a room for improvement, and we're going to talk about that next. Again, I'm making this video specifically for Condor. I contacted them, and they actually got back to me the same day, and they asked for pictures, and they seemed interested in my suggestions. So that's what this is for. It'll be a short video. I'm going to just focus on this, and we'll take a beat here. So as I'm saying that's a problem. You could always figure this out with the sheath as far as using it enough to make this come in and out of the sheath. Got gas or something. You want to be careful with this, by the way. If you're trying to yank this out of the sheath and you got your hand here, your finger here, that would be a bad idea. It's a nice way to slice your finger open. Make sure you got it up here. Good purchase. It is a nice sheath. It's pretty thick leather. Smells like leather. It's got El Salvador on the back here. It's got their cool logo on the front there. Coffin handle knife. Let's get into that. All right. I watched a video on this knife last night, and I forget the guy's name, sorry, who designed this and had Condor make it, but apparently he's a well-known survivalist bushcraft YouTuber. And the video is pretty cool. It still has the factory oil on it. It was cool because they sent it to several other, I guess, well-known YouTuber, survivalists. I don't know who any of these guys are. I don't watch any of that stuff. I learned all this stuff. My dad, If you guys don't know, you've been here before. If you haven't been here before, my old man was a. If he heard me use the term old man, he'd punch me in the mouth. By the way, I was never to call him the old man, and I was told that by his friends. Never refer to your father as the old man. But my dad was taught by British OSS, or excuse me, SAS, and American OSS, right? During the Greek Civil War. They took 2 boys from every village, brought them down to Athens, and trained them. He always said it was like the Boy Scouts, except they got to shoot machine guns and kill people. So, yeah, imagine that. 9 years old, leaving home for 4 years. Crazy. So I never needed to look at that stuff online. And by the time I was 8, I was making snares and trout lines and doing it, sleeping on the ground. But back to this with the whole Bowie thing. Here's the thing about this particular knife. First of all, it's friggin' badass. I love the belly on this. I love the way they tapered this blade here to a fine point. I don't know what the steel is. I'm sorry. You can look that up yourselves. It's pretty thick here. It's not quite a 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's thicker than my original, I believe. Yeah, look at that. It is thicker than the Western Bowie. This is my 1966, 67 Bowie, Western, Vietnam era. I'm going to talk. I brought this out because I want to talk about handle construction and also this little thing that I noticed. I love this detail that they did right here. You see that nice curve there, right here? It's got like a little. If they took the time to do that, in my opinion, and it was weird. I watched this video last night, and I'm watching these guys, and they're all choking up on the handle here, and they're doing feather sticks and all that. I like to do this. I like to wrap my finger here. And if you're going to take the time to cut this beautiful curve right there, Condor, just a tip for you. I don't know why these other guys didn't tell you this or point this out to you, or why you didn't notice it, even the guy making the knife originally. But that little shape right there, you should cut that up higher so that a finger could fit here. A finger should be able to fit right there so you can lock it between the cross guard, get really good purchase there, and that's really nice. That's how you want that to be. So that's the first suggestion I have for an improvement on this blade. The other one is the handle. It's a classic. This harkens back to your kind of like, you know, I don't even know. I guess the era would be post-Civil War Western style Bowie. And by the way, it is Bowie. Even the family has corrected that when asked. It's Bowie. It is a Bowie knife, not a Bowie knife. Bowie comes from David Bowie, which is not his real name. It's not his birth name. David Bowie chose the name Bowie because it seemed tough, the American Bowie knife. But it was never the American Bowie knife. It was always the American Bowie knife. Not that it matters that much. Say whatever you want. What I am not stoked about, ooh, that's a sharp blade, let's be careful, is the handle as far as the thickness of it. This is a dainty handle. It's very dainty for a heavy blade, right? For a forward heavy chopper and all that. You know me, I like to flick it. It's a very dainty blade. I don't like that, personally. I don't like that I can wrap my hand all the way around this thing like that. Maybe if you got gloves on, you know, cold winter environment, I suppose. Cold winter environment, cold weather environment. Maybe that's nice. But this is just a tip for Condor. Experiment with it. I want you to notice how the handle works on the Western Bowie here. It's very slim here, and it fattens at the pommel. See that? See that shape there? I hope this is in focus. I'm not one of those guys who's looking at myself in the back of the camera. I'm just looking directly into a lens. It's you get better, looks better on screen from this side. It's a better lens. When you're watching me on your big TV, I don't know how you do that. So, if they would flare out right here, just make this, I know it would be add a little bit more time, but if you could flare out the scales so they fatten back here, okay? That would make this knife far more comfortable. You still have the coffin shape and everything else you got going on. And I would suggest, not that again, it's a cost thing. I get it. But you did the brass on the pins. This is let's not have an accident. The double pins, right? 2, 4, 6. There's 12. Well, no, there's 6 pins in this thing. Right. So, I mean, that's really heavy duty. I love that. I forgot what I was going to say about that. Oh, because it's brass. It would be really neat if this was a nice thick piece of brass on the crossguard. So if those changes were made, 3 changes, improvements, let's call them. Make this a true finger choil right here, right? Again, the finger cannot fit here. I mean, maybe a child, maybe a kid. I guess like a 3-year-old trying to hold this knife up could fit their finger in there. But that a man should be able to put his finger in there. And a lot of these, YouTube survivors are chubby too, right? So they got fat fingers. So let's make it so they can put a fat finger in there. And if you had a brass crossguard, if you would swell the scales at the pommel. That's it. Other than that, friggin' badass. You're going to see this out there. I bought this because I'm going to be doing a video, pretty comprehensive video on Bowies. I wanted a few different Bowie blade shapes. I wanted different handle shapes. I wanted different styling. I love this. The look of this is so badass. It is so badass because it has that vintage vibe here. And it kind of has that Marine Raider Bowie blade on it. I don't think you can go wrong with this knife. They've proven. I mean, people are batoning with it. You can watch all those videos. It's a pretty decent piece of steel. And that is it. So Condor, thank you for making an awesome product. I am not knocking this product whatsoever. It's super cool. I'm just saying make it better. I'll show you something really quick. You guys have seen it before. As you know what? Let me pause this. It's an important point. All right, you guys have seen this before. Here's your original USMC, Bolo from World War II. You look at this handle. Actually, I'm going to show you something else here too while I'm here. See how chunky and squared off this handle is? This thing's unmolested, original from World War II. It is not comfortable. Well, let me refrain there. Let me back up. It is comfortable. It is actually pretty comfortable, but it's a big honking thing. This little shape right here that they add makes a lot of sense because, again, you can lock it here and flick it. It keeps it from wanting to slide out of the back of your hand. What I did was I took one of these that was damaged along the edge. I reprofiled it, and I made this sort of handle, which is more ergonomic, way more comfortable. Got a pivot there for a bow drill. I've got some finger choiling I've added here and some jimping. Finger choil here. You can hold this thing so many different ways, okay? Chops like an axe, this thing. Full 1/4 inch thick steel. Why am I showing you that? Well, I'm also going to show you this, right? This is the handle I recently reprofiled for the OSS Smash It. This was a big, square, honking, super uncomfortable hunk of steel. Why am I showing you these two? Because this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. If you get a knife that has a whole lot of extra material here and it's uncomfortable, well, then this is what you do with it. Now, this thing is bad. This is super comfortable now. I thinned it right here as much as I could. There's a pin here. So I could flick it here. I could flick it down here for chopping. This thing is, oh man, it's a fat. I prefer a fat handle personally. It feels better over time when you're actually working with it and chopping with it. So my point with this Undertaker blade is you don't have to worry about it getting too fat, because if you get it too fat, you should modify it yourself. For those of you who are just collecting knives to put on a shelf and look at it, none of this matters. Doesn't matter. If you're just a collector and you like having cool stuff, everything I'm pointing out here doesn't matter. But if you want to actually take this out into the field and use it and chop with it, then having a fatter handle that you could scale down on your own if you wanted to, it gives you an option. If you're a bigger man with a bigger hand, you will appreciate a little bit more thickness on the handle. You'll appreciate maybe a little thicker and brass guard here. You're definitely going to appreciate a full finger choil kind of right here, right? So you can get your fat, chubby finger in there. So if you're listening, Condor, I mean, give it a shot. You guys can call it the Mike Z version. Imagine that. Let's not get too full of myself here. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's an awesome knife. It just could be better. And I don't think that what I'm pointing out necessarily has to cost a whole lot more money. It's a few more seconds, you know, to make this, to just change that right there. I don't think it's that big of a deal to, I mean, this is clearly faster to shape. They could put these scales on, pin it, cover the handle with something, and just run this on a sander, which is, you know, likely what they're doing with this thing to get it to that shape. They could flare, if they wanted to, the coffin handle a little bit on the end. That's all up to them. But leave it to us, the consumer, to customize it ourselves. There's no room for customization with this handle right now. We're stuck. We're stuck with this. Again, not trying to knock it. I'm just saying, to me, this is very, very dainty. It's a dainty little thing. I feel like when I'm handling it, I should have my little pinky finger out because it's dainty. This is dainty to me. Big, massive, masculine, badass chopping blade. Whoa! Dainty little handle. Dainty little skinny handle. Don't like that. But I do love it overall, though. It's pretty badass. The Condor. What is this? Oh yeah, the Undertaker. The Undertaker blade there. Dainty handle. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. Condor, I hope you guys appreciated this. I do like the product. I love everything that's going on with your company. Next time I'm in El Salvador surfing, I'm going to make a trip to your factory. I'll call first in case you want to pretend you're closed for some holiday because you don't want me there. Who could blame you? I'll catch you guys in the next one.